Valley Fire. That's what I was waiting for. And Western Lane Ambulance District. All of you, roll call, please.
All right, starting with SVFR Board Directors. Director Lori Heppel.
Present.
Stephanie Restrepo.
Here.
David Carrillo. Jim Polisi.
Here.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, SVFR. Timothy Kelly. R.J. Hall.
Here.
Aaron Looney.
Here.
Mary Kaufman.
Here.
And Margaret Peg Sorensen.
Here.
Western Lane Board Directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Buss,
Here.
Mike Webb.
Here.
Budget Committee members for Western Lane Ambulance, Ron Thompson,
Here.
George Leidick,
Here.
Karen Guy,
Here.
Pat Stewart,
Here.
Susie Lacer.
We have all three forums. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Rob Camp. I'm the Deputy Chief. I was appointed at one of the meetings to be this year's budget officer. But thank you all for being here. All of you, go to the next slide.
Says next slide. Sorry, technical difficulties. Yeah, the arrows are gone.
While we're working on it, so what is the budget process? It's a very specific and sometimes confusing process, even for the three of us. The very specific process outlined in state law. We try and be all of these meetings and with creating the budget as transparent as possible. So if there's any questions, I know we have a couple of new members. Any questions about anything in the budget, please ask. And we're trying to
Very.
right away.
From the beginning?
From the beginning. Usually there's arrows down here.
I don't know that you're sharing this one. though.
Thank you. As a reminder, with committee members, you may not hold.
So
any
you
budget
do
discussions
share.
or discussions,
So we are.
amongst yourself outside of the public setting.
Where's the share button? Oh, here we go. Your screen sharing. Wait, stop share. And then let's share. Yeah.
Tonight, you will hear
I'm gonna make this
all three
bigger.
budgets. So even though, if we're on the Statesville Valley Fire Rescue side, we want your feedback with the
Oh, it says screen two.
budget and the same goes.
Press screen one.
Side.
Well, no, we want screen two. Yeah, share.
You like,
Okay.
So in this
hopefully we can get
PowerPoint,
all of the budgets
There it
approved.
is.
There's two of them. Yeah. Okay.
After making any reviews or modifications,
Back
and
up.
then
Here.
tonight, we would also approve the tax rate at the end. You go to the next one now. Okay, so in front of you, you have this wonderful packet. Sorry it took a couple extra days to get out to you, but this being my first year as budget officer, I wanted to make sure that we had a complete budget packet for you. So a lot of hard work went into this, but it's something I think that we're proud of. It's got a lot of information there. It does include the full budget message, which is rather lengthy that I won't read, but a couple things that I wanted to highlight. Again, big thanks to not only all of you for being here, but also all the staff that worked to put this together and to come up with not only the document, but the budget. It reflects careful consideration. Financially, I think we are in pretty good shape right now. However, you'll see that our current expenditures, they have surpassed our current annual revenue, and that's from both our tax basis and from our industry and some other little bit. But right now, we are in good shape. This year, not much for capital purchases, nothing big, at least right now. And let's see, as for the department, we still need to repair and potentially remodel this station. We do have some administrative changes happening later on this year. We're coming up at the end of our strategic plan review, so that's actually going to be next year that we'll be looking to update our strategic plan. And of course, later on this year, we'll be going up for our local operating levy, which is on the western Maine side. We plan to do that in November. That actually ends next year, but we ready to go out for it in November. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of a layout of where the money is coming from. The money still comes in, all the revenue comes into the parent agencies, and then we kind of just shuffle it all into WLFEA. So on the health district side, Western Lake Ambulance Health District on the left, you have the permanent levy, which is 31 cents and some change per thousand, and then the local option levy that I was just talking about is 45 cents, and that's a 5-year levy that we have to go out for every 5 years. And then we also have transport revenue, which it's about 200,000-ish, it fluctuates, but overall about 200,000 on average every month for an annual revenue of 2.4 million. And then the fire district has a permanent rate of $1.54 per thousand. And then there's also grant revenue that we get from our crisis response team, so Western Lake Crisis Response, and this year set to be about 745,000, and that's primarily from county. Okay, but better look at. And so you can see we take everything and we take the revenue and we give it all to pretty much all to WLFEA, because Western Lake Ambulance has no employees, neither does SBFR. All the operating costs, for the most part, there's with the exception of a few, come out of WLFEA, so you just transfer all the money, which, as you can see, you might not be able to see that, but there's around 60 employees who support volunteers that work for the fire. Next slide. Okay, this is in your 43, because it's very hard to see up there, but this is this is just an outlay of our capital outlay plan. So WLFEA doesn't have any capital. The capital rests with both the parent agencies. The building, our main ambulance building, and all the ambulances belong to Western Lake Ambulance District, and this building and all of the fire apparatus belong to Southeast Valley Fire Rescue. But this is just this is our outlay plan, capital outlay replacement plan, and it's just a plan. It's not set numbers. We're always trying to push out, making some of these big purchases as far out as we can. We try and take good care of our equipment and our buildings. So just because next year it says that we're slated to buy an engine at 850,000, I'm not sure that we need one next year. Like I said, we take really good care of our apparatus, so they're in really good shape. Some of this is based on our past routine of how long run rate before we put them in surplus or in reserve. Some of it's off of standards, maybe NFPA or state standards. But those are just guidelines. So we try and push them out as far as we can. Those orange highlighted boxes, those are all things that we bought on grant money. And then the yellow boxes up there with one this fiscal year potentially, those are just potential times that we could make some capital purchases. So next year, as you'll see, in our apparatus fund under Western Lake Ambulance, there is some extra money, and we don't have a lot of capital purchases, so that might be something that we maybe consider at some time. We did just get a brand new Type 2 ambulance and put that into service this year, but we are due for a Type 3, which is like a bigger boxier one. A Type 2 is like the little van style one, and we do a lot of interfacility transfers between hospitals.
So that's just a planning document, because I'm not finding it.
Yeah.
Page 43.
No, it's not.
On page 43.
Okay.
It's only a partial, that's on the screen, you're seeing the full
layout of going way out.
12 years. We've only included in the manual that, 6 years.
But this,
And it starts at 2022 on the screen.
ours starts at, oh, thank you. That's why I'm confused. I'm trying to catch up to where these things start.
And I'm happy to have that. We can email that out to you. Like I said, it's just a plan. And that might not capture everything, but, yeah, happy to share that guideline and document with you. All in all, if you can see the bottom there, you know, it comes out to, we average that all out, it comes out to, if you try to plan for it about, over the course of time, about 700,000 a year capital replacement. You know, some years it might be a little bit, and then, well, let's see, what year are we trying to replace the ladder truck? Fiscal year 34, I don't even think $1.5 million to cover that. It goes up and down, up and down. We did just replace our self-contained breathing apparatus, so the air packs that everyone, that all the firefighters wear, when we fight the fire. We did replace those this last year, and we got a grant approved to replace or to pay for those. However, with all the government shutdown, it's been hard to, nobody's maintaining those websites, and so we have not seen the check yet. I believe it's going to come in, but yeah. All the shutdowns, they're not maintaining any of those sites, and so they're back on reviewing maybe stuff. So hopefully we see that soon.
That was budgeted for last year.
Yeah.
And current, and then so you've got the grant with it.
Yeah, we got the grant was approved and awarded. We accepted the grant. We just haven't, you know, got check. So like I said, I mean, the money's there. I know that. It's just FEMA and all that stuff. It's just a little, take a little bit longer. All right, next slide, Holly. All right, so here now we'll finally get into some budget documents that we'll look at here.
We included the graph that you normally include at the end of
Yep, there's, but yep, they're at the end of the budget document after the glossary.
So the page 78 is SBFR. If you want to follow in the book, it starts on page 24.
I think, me personally, I think it's easier to follow this style. But I don't think anything's very involved. Easier for us. So we'll go in order. We're going to start off with SBFR, and then we'll work on go to Western Minneapolis, and then I think we'll do the and if there's no major modifications or anything like that, we'll go ahead and make some motions to approve all of that. Yeah. We'll start out here with SBFR. Top line, as you can see, available cash on hand. So that is normally the cash that we would have to carry us over before we get more tax money. So that would be our working capital until we get tax money in November. So that should last us from July 1 to November when those come in. We do get a little bit of tax money, throughout the year, but generally it all comes in November. As you can see, that amount's been going down in the previous fiscal years, and we've been we haven't been keeping as much money in the parent agencies. We've been putting more of it into WLFEA. Going down to, let's see, that would be line 30. Yeah. 29. Those are the majority of our taxes to be received from Lane County, so about almost 3.4 million. We do get some Douglas County taxes. There's a few houses south to the south that are annexed into our fire district. So a little bit of money there, not much, but we do get some. Taxes are, and for our tax revenue goes up about 3%. It's a little over 3% every year. And that's based on assessed value and not real market value. There is a little bit extra. I'm not sure. I think it's about 0.5% for new construction. So it actually goes up maybe like 3.5%, 3.6%, something like that. But we generally see that every year. All right, any questions about that first page? All right, next slide, Holly. And some of these pages you'll see in the parent company, you'll see it said recruitable via budget. That's just because those agencies we don't account for anything in there. So again, FBFR, Western Leaning don't have any employees, so there's no personnel costs. As far as admin, other admin fees for materials and services, there's some things that have to stay in the parent company. Some of those things are the audits. We have 3 different audits for the 3 different organizations, so that has to stay. Also the property and liability, so the insurances have to stay with the parent company, and that's some of those costs that we have that aerial money. Capital, we budget every year to have some furniture replacements and computer upgrades. If for some reason the IGA didn't work out and the fire authority just said we're done, you split up, the capital would go, with the parent company. So we still budget for keeping the computers and that kind of stuff, furniture, in the parent companies. Okay, next slide, Ollie. Very good. Okay. No, I found it. Sorry about that. So nothing, nothing on page 3. So we'll skip ahead to page 5. The summary. So we have our transfer to WLFEA, $3.2 million. We do have some transfers to our apparatus, properties and facilities and equipment funds. 50,000, 132,000 to property and facilities, and then 50,000 to equipment.
I did that. There is no page 4. Then I would recommend you renumber the page.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'd like to say that's why I just got totally confused with that, but I was making on. Yeah.
If you're following in the book, on page 27.
Years. Yeah, so the slide actually, so if you could you want to refer back up to the PowerPoint, I actually reviewed the capital slide before we get to the requirement, the total summary page. So up there we have the equipment fund. Go ahead and find it back. All right, so we do have, as you can see there, we have the turnouts and SCBAs. It's kind of hard to read. It's better up in your book. We did budget to receive that money next year. I don't believe that we'll see that money come in for the SCBAs of 500,000 this year. So that's reflected on the funding. That'll be reflected in the cash on hand. And then We will be transferring in 50,000. We do need to buy some turnouts. That's our biggest capital purchase on the fire side. So turnouts are our firefighting gear. We initially bought those on a grant 10 years ago. A lot of them are aging out. And so it's recommended to replace them every 10 years, which we try and do. That's per NFPA standard. And so we used to purchase some every year, and we haven't done that recently. So we need to make a kind of a bigger purchase. So we're going to try to get out and budget the grant to get all of them done. But we'll see if we can get that. So that would probably, those are about $5,000 a set with helmet boots included. So we don't necessarily need that many boots or helmets. We're going to see how much we can stretch, but we're in desperate need of probably at least 20 sets of turnouts. So like I said, that's our biggest capital purchase looking forward towards next year with potentially some building to be built over there.
So were you expecting to complete the grant money this year still?
I don't believe we will. Just, yeah, I mean, we're just running out of time, and with it back at the schema, it's.
You have a budget change, or we can have that showing the budget for the current year?
So we're acting like we're gonna get it before the end of the year, so you see it reflected in the starting cash.
I don't know if that will. I'm hoping. There's the website back up, and I've been checking it every week to see if they made any progress. I'm assuming that they're really far behind on their reviews. I had to make an amendment, so I mean, it's my fault. I tried to, I wanted to know if they would cover the service agreement also with the grant, because our air packs came in below our award offer. And so I wanted to see if, I mean, to protect the equipment that the grant's buying us, if they would cover the service contract, which I think they will, but it's under an amended reviews. It's also taking a little bit longer for that too, but I mean, if they'll take care of that, we don't have to pay for it. That'd be really awesome. It was $52,000 for either 5 or 10 years. Just
We don't order the equipment until we have the grant.
no, they only reimburse. They won't. In rare circumstance, will they give you the money first and say goodbye to you? They want you to actually receive it and all that stuff.
Makes me feel better.
Yeah, so the expense has been done, and we're assuming that we're gonna get the cash in the end of the year.
Before the end of the calendar year or fiscal year?
This. Okay. Okay, next slide, Polly. All right, properties and facilities. We budgeted this year to do some repairs. So that would carry over. I don't know if we're going to have that done prior to the fiscal year. We budgeted to have our entire west wall. It's got a lot of dry rot. Some of the vapor barrier is exposed, and so our logistics chief, Andy Gray, he's actively working on getting sealed bids to have that repaired. Unfortunately, it's a much bigger project than probably anybody in town. Any local contractor, even just a kind of a small time contractor is going to want to take on. It's a pretty big job. And we might also try and move in doing some remodeling here to make some bedroom areas for the groups. So if we can tie that all into one project, we'll do that. So we hope to get that done this year. I don't get that. I'm not very optimistic of getting done before the end of this, but we've had that money, we've had that project done, and we need to do it. We're going to try and get that done sometime this year. All right, next slide. Moving on to the next page is the apparatus fund. So we will be transferring in some money there. We don't have any apparatus for our capital plan to try and repair or to try and replace on the fire side. Eventually, we will need to replace our fire engines. There's going to be some tenders coming up. Yeah.
So if you're looking at your forms, one of the biggest things that we did with our funds is, we narrowed it down in scope, and so we used to have just one big capital fund. And now, each entity in Rhinebeck is doing, City Savannah Fire and Western Marine Ambulance District, we took that capital fund and, we broke it up and made, the apparatus fund, the equipment fund, and the facilities fund, so that they're all in alignment. So if you see that there's a balance in prior years and then it looks kind of funny, it's when we stop the one capital fund. And we want to be transparent with that, so you're seeing those prior numbers. And then in some cases, there's zero, we didn't, it's a new fund. That makes sense.
Thank you. All right, next slide, Elaine. So now we come back to this page. And you can see where there's transfer, there's the special payment transfer will be, and then we have those transfer payments to the variable funds that we just discussed. You should stop. Yeah. You want to. Yeah. Okay, we're at the. Sorry, guys.
Tim Kelly just got on.
So, any questions on the SDFR budget? We do have a $50,000 operating contingency in there.
I'll be honest, I'm having a hard time keeping up. I can't find that.
So go to page 23.
Page 5?
What should be the page 4?
Yeah, to the page 4 in the back, or there's the link right there.
But there's
Okay,
like page
there
4.
it says.
It's like, okay,
What did you page 5? Page 5.
The back. Okay. Thank
Hi,
you.
sweet boy. Hi.
any other questions?
I can't take you out.
Following along, file.
You gotta talk to your mama.
Yeah, the back. No. I would just. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Everything went quiet. Is everybody there?
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, well, I apologize, I got ahead of the agenda. I was following my PowerPoint, not the actual agenda. So we need to, I think now's the time to stop, and we need to nominate and appoint budget committee chairpersons for all three entities. We have any volunteers, any special nominations? So we'll need one for SDFR, for Western Maine, and for fire units.
I second it.
All right, so we have a nomination for George Leidig by Director Buss and a second by Director Webb.
He knows the skill.
Yeah, he's done this before.
We're good. Man.
Excellent. Excellent nomination.
That for referendum or will be.
It can be for both. Yeah,
Let's make it for both.
for both. Okay, so then we would need to do,
I'll make a motion that he's that for both years.
okay. All right. So-
I'll
So-
second.
Okay, so that's for WLFEA and second by Director Buss. So two different motions there, Holly. They just flip flop.
Okay, I was like,
So we'll need a Western Lane roll call.
okay. Western Lane, starting with our board directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Buss,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget committee members, Ron Thompson,
Here.
George Leidick,
Is that a yes or a no?
Here.
Or an abstain?
Yes. Okay, George Leidick, yes. Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Lacer.
All right, congratulations, George. Thank you for this. Okay, so we'll need a nomination for SBFR. Yeah, it's off the date.
Out of self-preservation, I nominate Jeffrey Hall.
All right.
Wow.
I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a first and a second,
First by Mary.
and then by word.
Mary,
Did we go for the wall? Yeah.
Mary Kaufman, Margaret Sorensen, and it was for who? Jeff Hall? All right. SVFR Board Directors, Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney,
Yes.
Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
Yes.
Now we need to vote for George Leidick as Western Lane Fire EMS chairperson. So I'll lead you on WLFEA roll call.
Okay, WLFEA roll call, starting with the board directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Buss,
Yes.
Mike Webb,
Yes.
Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton, and then budget committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick, Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Lacer, then Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney, Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peck Sorensen.
Either of you are more than welcome to run a meeting on that. But absolutely, George, if you want to take over that independent, just not do. Okay, so next we need to approve the meeting minutes from last year. We had a couple of meetings. So those were sent out. You should also have copies on your table. But we need to have a motion to approve the minutes. It won't be a meeting. This one is. Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes. For
November.
I'll make a separate motion to approve the May 22nd, 2025.
Okay. We have two motions by Director Webb.
Combine them in one. Okay, combine them in one.
Votes.
One that will be in one of those Western Maine.
I'll second.
Second to WLFEA. Or
These
this.
are both questions.
I can second both. One's Western Lane and one's Brookwood.
Okay, okay, I do that.
Yeah.
I did. Well, yeah, no.
Okay. Holly, will you first do a roll call vote for Western Lane ambulance?
Western Lane Ambulance Board Directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Buss.
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, yes. Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
and Susie Lacer.
And now we'll need a roll call vote for WLFEA, please.
WLFEA. Starting with our board directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Buss.
Yes.
Mike Webb,
Yes.
Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Lacer, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney,
Yes.
Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
Yes.
Okay. Public comment. You have anyone sign up? All right. Now we can move back to the proposed budget. So we just reviewed SBFR. And now we'll be moving on to Western Lane Neighborhood District.
You all keep the approve us to the bar at this time?
We should get, yeah. I was just gonna do them all at the end. If everyone was okay with that, we can just rattle them all off. So we have them all printed out like we have in the past. But if you would like to make. There's a change. By WLFEA later. We have to go back and.
Okay.
Okay. Can we go to the next slide, Holly? So everyone find where we're at the page 1, Western Lane Ambulance District for the photo, right? Okay, so again, available cash on hand, 207,802. You can see that that's been trending down, just like SBFR, we've been trying to keep less money than the parent companies, and it's just really what's needed for that carryover, that dry finance.
Yeah.
You'll notice that we have, this is where we get all our ambulance transport revenue. So the patient fees, private pay, private insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, that's all reimbursement from our ambulance transport. This ground emergency medical transport, that's the GEMT program that we've participated in for a few years now. That's a program where we get money back from the state. It's from the federal government, from the state for our Medicaid transports. So it's kind of a confusing program, but it's to help reimburse. We don't get much reimbursement at all from Medicaid or Medicare. And so that's a way to kind of give some of the agencies back to help recover some costs. So not a lot, but it helps. We do get some revenue from tax revenue from Three Rivers Casino. We decided to, it is not tax revenue based on what they would pay if they paid taxes. We decided to increase that this year by 3% as any other payer. Let's see. Reimbursements.
reimbursements are, items so like, no, there's sometimes, that person might get double billed. And if they pay twice, then we have to reimburse part of their, or, and we just plan for that because there's oftentimes that, the mail or whatever, they might get their bill rate, or they forgot they were paid or something, there's always something, so we plan on getting that money. Or spending it, either way. And oftentimes, the other thing that would go into reimbursements is, if a vehicle gets wrecked and we get reimbursement in from the insurance company, that would go in that line item as well.
Okay. So looking down a little bit further, starting on line 28. So total resources except taxes to be levied, 2.8 million. And we have our permanent rate, 835, and then the local option levy rate. So that was at 31 cents per thousand, and it's 45 cents per thousand, at 1.16 for a total of 4.8 million. Any questions on that page?
Yeah, when does that levy expire?
The levy expires next year.
Next
And
year,
so we
okay.
plan on going out in November of this year for renewal. That's a 5-year levy.
Right, and then just for a point of interest, when you go back up to line 3, the interest, right? So you've been scaling everything down, the annual the adopted budget and the cash on hand, but the interest remained the same.
I couldn't hear that. I didn't hear that last part, but the interest is staying the same. That's what I thought.
Yeah, so for 2025, 2026, the interest was 55,000 at 695,706, and then proposed is with cash on hand at 207, and the interest is still 55. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so, one of the things that we've done is we moved a lot of our accounts, into the LGIP fund, which earns a higher rate of interest. And so, we have a savings account through, the LGIP. And so a lot of the fund, the ambulance revenue funds, all of that gets moved into, either the savings account or, the LGIP. And so, we don't transfer money. We don't transfer all of it all at once. We transfer it monthly. We break it up monthly. And then at the end of the year, those funds that WLFEA requires get moved over to WLFEA. And so during that time, those funds earn interest.
Okay, thank you.
At the higher rate.
Gotcha.
Any other questions on that page? Okay. Next slide, Ollie. So again, no personnel, so no personnel services cost. We do still see, just like in the SBFR budget, that the audit and insurance have to stay with the parent agency. So you'll see that there. We did get a car seat grant. And so there are expenditures coming out of that grant. That was through the Three Rivers Casino Foundation. And we have an excellent car seat program. It's car seat tax. I think it's a great service that we offer to our community. And then again, like the SBFR budget, we have the computer upgrades in that capital area, computer upgrades, building improvements. And the building improvement on that one, 50,000, that's because we're gonna probably need to do some major roof work to repair the roof of our main ambulance station down on the hospital campus. So we're thinking that could be up to around $50,000 to repair them. And we found that out. We had to replace some gutters this year on the back side, which would be the north side of the building. And we ran into some potential issues with some leaks. So that's what that $50,000. Next slide, Holly. So in your book here, I'm going to skip a couple of pages and we'll be on page 5. Just looking over the equipment fund. We're going to be transferring in some money there, 10,000, but we don't have any major equipment purchases that we need to. Our hernias are looking good. We just got a couple of new monitors, our defibrillator monitors that we use to monitor patients. Ventilators. This last budget year, we bought all new ultrasound, point-of-care ultrasound devices, which are really, really nice. So we're looking good on equipment for now. So nothing really there, but we like to have a little bit of money in that account just in case something does break. I mean, if it happens, obviously. And so, but no major purchases that we plan on. Next page, Holly. We're going to page 6 in your book, and this is the apparatus fund. So we have some extra money in here, and that's where, if you can think back to that capital outlay plan, I said we didn't have major, but there's, some of those yellow shaded areas were areas of potential where we could. We plan to buy another type 3 ambulance, which is like a big box ambulance next year. I think there's potential we could maybe move that up to this fiscal year. And as of this week, one of our last our type 1 ambulance started smoking inside the cab. So we'll see what happens there. We may need to move up an ambulance purchase out. But it's nice to have at least that, this much money in this account, if any account, so we can turn around and buy one of the rigs that we filed on, because things happen. George can speak. Director have been around for forever. We put a lot of miles and a lot of wear and tear on the game. Yeah. How many have you read? Just go on. For those of you who might not know, George, we worked together for a long time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then the last capital fund would be the building fund, which is on page 7 in your book. Again, we talked about adding in that extra 50,000 because you might need to do some repairs.
Something I don't see in the Westland Fund or the FDFR fund to put that service line item. I don't expect that service this year, but could we be thinking about adding a line item for that in case we choose to buy something with that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think we're going to have to eventually do that sooner than later. Yeah, absolutely.
That was coming out of your capital fund. We get that money.
Why I've seen it is that service fund specific for
Which is
the.
like the umbrella fund you got that for or a separate fund.
Yeah, so if you funded, say, 100,000 debt service, how much you could buy 100,000 here with that, probably quite a bit. I don't know if it should be involved. Yeah, I believe it's the apparatus one by each separate district should be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think sooner than later we're gonna have to turn to that. I don't know that we're always gonna have. We've been fortunate to be able to buy things with our cash, but I just, especially with the cost of apparatus nowadays, like we talked about the ladder truck. I mean, they're ridiculous. They're crazy. And even an ambulance, if we were trying to replace the same type 1 ambulance that started smoking this week, that's actually over $400,000 for that kind of ambulance. So that's why we decided to transition to the type 2s and type 3s, which were cheaper. Gas driven, not usable, not a big, F550, 650 chassis, they're van chassis and gas or the Sprinter style thing. Apparatus are getting very, very expensive.
Yeah, I think I put an apparatus area. I think it's that's a for.
Usually you find it really depends on how you get your debt service. So if it's just regular debt service and you're gonna pay it from your general fund, you find it on page 4.
Yeah.
You would budget it there. If you're gonna go out for an obligation fund, and then you have to have a separate fund. So it really is just dependent where you budget it.
Yeah, we can definitely look into adding that in next year, or the next budget.
We're in time.
So if I can get you to flip back to page 4 now, we'll look at the overall requirement summary. So we have the transfer to WLFEA, the 4.4 million. We have the equipment apparatus and building fund transfers for total interfund transfers of 85,000. We also have the operating contingency in there, 50,000, just like with SBFR. Leaves us with an unappropriated ending balance of 150,000. And our total requirements match our total resources at 4.8. Do we have any questions about anything at all about the Western Main ambulance? Okay, and actually, we have one more thing to go over, and that is the life set that was forgot, which is on page 8. So available capital, 173,000. And not much of interest there. I had to actually try and verify if that was accurate. If those where all the zeros, but that is accurate. We don't get much interest in this account. We anticipate getting more 85,000 in subscriptions this year, which you'll see is down a little, and that's because that's just what we're going to gain a net overall. We are using we're going to Lifeline Network. They're managing the entire program. LifeMed annually is very time consuming, and it usually takes everybody in the office running full swings. We're talking like 4 to 5 people, plus we're bringing in some of our auxiliary volunteers to just like print flyers, stuff envelopes, stuff mailers, and so for a couple of months, they're just they're running full swing. And so this year we decided to try out a company to manage this for us. They manage all the advertising and all that stuff, and just to see how it works out, free of our office staff, because that becomes very, very labor intensive. Like I said, we still have to bring in extra people. So that's the overall the net. That's why that's going down. We don't anticipate receiving that many less subscriptions. CPR classes, when we do those go back into the LifeMed account. We do many CPR classes a year, so 25,000 I think is I could see that number actually going up a little bit. And let's see. As far as requirements go, we use the LifeMed account to support our QRTs, which is our quick response teams. And those are mostly in Mapleton and Swissville Deadwood area. We support their training and replacing some of their equipment at the end. We're looking at maybe replacing some Zoll AEDs for them this fiscal year. And so I actually just talked to Chief First Walk today about if he has any other plans for replacements or anything that he anticipates for next fiscal year. So we're planning on maybe some Zoll AEDs. And then with the operating levy coming up, we did leave a little bit more money in that account for maybe mailing out some suppliers, maybe a consultant fee for just educating the public on our upcoming levy. We can't do that with tax dollars. So with this being a subscription funded account, we're able to do that correctly. That's why we have this. But we can't actually do any of that with our tax records. So having this account allows us to.
Out of curiosity, our overall revenue for tax budgeted base budget rates.
Correct. Any questions on LifeMed and or the overall requirement requirements, summary.
I have, oh,
Uh,
Karen, I have a question on the life med on, I don't know what line it is because I'm looking on page 36, $50,000 for consulting services.
So that's actually, yeah, that's, I would say, an estimate. It can be much, much more. If we were to hire a professional to come in and assist us with the campaign of promoting our levy. I know that there are other agencies within our, you don't have to look outside of our county that are failing their operating levies, and they look to hire consultant fees. And so we've actually talked to some of them about what their consultant fees look like. But I was shocked at what the cost could cost over the course of 5 years and potentially having a successful levy. Though I really think it's just a minimal amount to be able to promote that the right way and get your levy passed. And so, like I said, I know that Lane Fire Authority and South Lane and Lebanon, I mean, even Springfield just passed a levy. And so it seems like a big number, and usually, it may only be, a smaller company or maybe even just a private company owned, but I think sometimes it's well worth it, and that would just be up to the boards on, I guess the West Bend Ambulance District board on it. That's something that we want to do. With the board, but we thought we'd just include that in there, leave it in there, in case that is an option.
It makes sense. Thanks. Thanks for explaining that. That makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions about the deal? Yeah.
Yeah, a question on LifeNet. You mentioned the subscriptions, it's 15 to 20,000 less than previous years because of fees for the new. Is that captured in an expenditure line item in there?
So you don't see it, but it is, we increased expenditure.
Right.
We increased expenditures for levy, so campaign costs.
Mhm.
So if those weren't there, yeah, expenditure.
Right. Is that a flat fee then for the yearly service?
For them, it's not a flat fee, it's a percentage. Yeah.
Percentage.
Yeah. They just take a cut, but
Percentage of subscriptions.
yeah. But they take care of all the advertising and the advertising costs and all that stuff. So, like I said, it's the first year. We'll see if it works out. We'll be back to stuff in the fun books.
And just so you know, they're charging us 30%, and our last year's expenditures are roughly 30% of what our income was in subscription. So we don't include staff time. It's about we're actually saving money.
Thank you.
Great question. Any other questions on Western Lane Ambulance? Before we move on to the WLFEA. All right. Maybe you go ahead and advance the slide. There we go. Okay, so everybody find page 1 for Western Lane Fire Authority. Okay, so available cash on hand, 5.7 million. There's interest there, transfers in from SBFR and Western Lane Ambulance District. And we also have the MCR grant administration. So with our crisis response team being grant funded, they allow for an overhead cost for us to have crisis here. And so that's what that 64,000 is. We do get some donations, conflag receipts. Conflag would be conflagration when we go on deployment for wildfires. We just budget 50,000 for that. Usually we see a lot more than that some years, like in 23, 24, we didn't send anyone at all. And so that we just threw out a number, but hopefully we get out and make some more money for the districts. Smoke detector income. I don't know if you'd like to talk about that at all, but we do replace smoke detectors for our citizens. And then rental income, we do have some staff that, you know, had some extra base space and some trailers and stuff, so they went ahead and they actually rent space from the district to store their things there, so that's what that does. So total resources, 13,598,264. Next slide, Holly. Okay. So we are on first year of the new 3-year contract that we just negotiated. It was signed in January, so that's with our collective bargaining agreement, our better union. We believe in investing in our personnel, and that's very, very important. However, investing in our personnel can be expensive. So that's where you'll see a lot of the operations and the administrative costs going up. It's not going to be in materials and services. It's mostly going to be personnel costs. Like I said, we're in the first year of a 3-year contract. They got 4% raises. There's some other bonuses. We're trying to be as competitive as we can. We'll never be as competitive as, say, some of the bigger departments in our state. We tried to get them what we could. That's reflected here in the budget. And then, like it's the agreement that we agreed on, the rest of admin and stuff just got the same, you know, full raises that the union got. That's not always the case, but in this case, it was. So no changes really, or no changes at all as far as full-time employees go. So you'll see we're still at the 10.2 there. We currently have deputy chief and the training officer budgeted. We don't have a training officer at this time, but that's something we're looking to hopefully employ here in the next month or two. That's the process that we were just talking about. So we are working on that. That's probably going to be a training lieutenant or training captain, but hopefully that position can maybe, you know, further develop into a training chief one day. Fire prevention's at 1.5 FTE. That's going to be, we have a full-time fire inspector, and then when Chief Schick retires, semi-retires, June 30th, he is going to come back and work part-time for us as fire marshal. So that brings you at that 1.5. We have our logistics chief, division chief, Andy Gray, office manager, and then the 4 full-time administrative staff. Nothing huge as far as payroll taxes. Our PERS, that went down this year, and that's because of our the side account that we have. And so we put some money away into a side account to buy down our rate for the first program a couple of years ago. And it was a match program with the state. Money raised, I think, through sports betting or gambling or something like that. So it was a great opportunity for us to save some costs there. You'll see a kind of a big jump in the HRA, the health reimbursement arrangement. Those went up. That was one of the benefits that was increased in the new contract. It used to be 15 and 3, so 1,500 for an individual, and then 3,000 for a family, and it went up to 2 and 4. So that's reflected there. Let's see. Paid leave Oregon, that went up quite a bit. We are not on the state's program. We are on a privately funded program. We have had many cases of people using PLO. I do think it's a great program. It's a great opportunity. I don't know how to say it's funded, to be completely honest, but we did have a few people use that, so our rates went up. As far as materials and services for admin wise, all the board expenses we kept the same. Building maintenance, you kept the same. Utilities went down, and you'll see that's because we now have a separate line item for internet and phone service. So that went down. That's a different line item. We have to do that under technology. All right, next page. Next slide, please, on. So a couple of things on this one that I highlighted. Our workers' comp is going up quite a bit. It's been going up. We've had several increases over the last many years, and so our workers' comp claims continue to go up. We have a few cases that are still ongoing, as far as I know, and we just can't get them closed. And so we hope we're getting close. We're doing everything we can to stay safe and stay healthy and implement engineering practices to make sure our people are safe. But I mean, things happen, and I like to think of fire and EMS as a contact sport. And so people get hurt, unfortunately, even when you do everything right, George. All right. Let's see. Nothing really big on the other administrative expenses. That's pretty much all the same. Another jump there, as I mentioned before, with technology. One of the big jumps was under computers. It went from 10,000 to 50,000. Well, that's because we need to replace our servers. They are end of life, and currently we have two different servers. One at the ambulance building, one here, and what we want to do when we replace them is compliant to just have one of them as well. So that's why you'll see that huge jump there under computers. I think that's pretty much it for technology. Oh, sure.
So one of the things that we've applied for is, the board is running without for email and, the website for cybersecurity. And so we have applied for a grant. We're still waiting to hear from that, but we've budgeted that expenditure, see that under the website. And then some of our, fees under, software and licenses and IT services have increased a little just for that reason.
I think that was good as far as the professional services. So you will see an audit, and we do have to audit WLFEA as well. The GEMT and consulting fees, we have to pay twice to get money back for the GEMT program that I spoke about earlier. We have a consulting firm that helps us prepare all of the documentation needed to turn into the state. And then the money comes from the federal government to the state, and the federal government says that the state has to pay a portion of it. Well, they just make us pay that, and then we get it back. So it's kind of a weird program. Overall, we get money, we make money on it, but it's just kind of confusing. And then peer support, we did decrease peer support, not at all because it's not important. It's very, very important. But we had a little bit more money in there to start off with. I think we have a great peer support team that's really getting a lot of training. We actually just sent, the union sent our peer support lead to Phoenix for more peer support training to help out with the entire county union. But we have, at least a half a dozen people that are trained in various techniques. So I think it's a great service. We are also paying to have a clinician do ride-alongs, and discussing with the team lead. That's not necessarily something that we need to continue. It was kind of for that person to see what we do and meet the people, but I think with where we're going, we can really manage it internally, and so that's not the reason why we decreased that line item. That's of course very important to us. All right, Bob, next Okay, any questions about that?
There's a question about billing services, which has seemed to have doubled in 3 years.
So that is,
Billing services.
that's for our ambulance billing. So we don't bill in-house. When we finish our patient care reports and they're checked off, we lock them, and then they automatically get notified, they get sent off. And so we don't handle any of our billing. So dealing with insurance companies or dealing with, talking with patients, or if they need another signature or anything, all our billing company handles all of that. They're a fantastic company, and unfortunately, they just said they wanted to raise their rates. But they're great.
They build, each bill is set down, so the more transports we go on, we get more revenue.
Okay, okay. It's not a fixed.
No.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Call on you guys go with that. Thanks. Any other questions on that page? All right. Go ahead. Next slide. So now we are on the operations side of personnel costs. So again, like I said, first year renewed 3-year contract. So personnel services did go up quite a bit. We're looking at about $500,000 just on this side. We stayed with the same amount of full-time equivalent employees at 34.5. Let's see. Really, any other changes other than salaries? Salaries did go up.
Like
Insurance went up. What did you go up, like 10%?
We're planning on 10%. We still don't have final numbers yet for insurance. They were talking 17%, but as of the SAO conference, they've gotten it down to 10. That's what we're hoping it will be at, and that's what we're planning it for it to be at.
There's a big jump again in that health reimbursement arrangement, that HRA Viva on line 21. That was that new negotiated benefit. Continuing on in materials and services, we reached out to all of our suppliers and got what their best guess was on what costs are going to go up. So not a huge raise in expenses for medical, most of the medical supplies there. Our physician advisor price did go up. He had a contract stating that he went up this year. We have a great physician advisor. He was actually here today at case review. It was great. So let's see, vehicles maintenance costs are going up. So that would be to maintain everything from the ladder truck and the brush rigs to all the ambulances. So we spent quite a bit on maintaining the vehicles. That falls on the shoulders of Division Chief Gray, who does a great job. I'm starting to think we maybe should have increased the fuel with current prices now, and no end in sight. But we decided foolishly, I guess, to keep that the same. Yeah. Any questions about this operations page for personnel or materials and services? Okay, we're moving right along. Next slide, please. So requirements here, training. Again, we went down on training in the training overall line item. Some of the big things that we usually pay for are, or invest in, I'll say, getting our medics critically care trained, which this year, I'm happy to say we certified, well, we trained and we certified 3 new flight paramedics. We have 3 licensed paramedics on staff. And we've been doing a great job. We have a training division of 3 individuals and then a couple of company officers that have just been doing a really great job at on-ship training and bringing in various instructors or finding resources, finding little grants to bring in pre-training. We have a couple of great classes that we're hosting here at the end of May. One's an the extrication class brought on by the state. And then right after that, we have an aerial apparatus operator class taught by an individual who instructs for Portland Fire. And so that would be a great one. And so it's not that we're doing less training, and so cut the budget, but we're just doing a lot of stuff in-house, which is really, really great. Let's see. Not much has changed in emergency services. Fire prevention and investigation. We do have a little bit of a jump there from last fiscal year. A couple of things that we were working on. One is a fire extinguisher trainer, which actually we squeezed into this year's budget. There's another thing that we're going to look at moving forward, and that's we're a little bit behind on all of our pre-plans on the fire side, which I think is huge. You know, from a response standpoint and from a training standpoint, knowing the buildings that you're going into, you know, especially hopefully before you go there on a fire or something like that. And so they have some really great software and hardware out there that can make, you know, just taking a quick scan of the building really fast, and then you put it into a computer program and easily, hopefully, catch up and work our next fire marshal to death on putting pre-plans together. So that's why there's some extra money in that account, is to look into purchasing some of that software to make sure that we can come up to speed. I think some of our pre-plans, if we have some, were variable. So that's where we see kind of a jump in that one. And then, you know, we try and stay active in the community with kids, with career fairs, and with the training programs, whether that be health occupations or the fire program at the high school. And so with that, we like to make sure that we have, you know, some good easy stuff that hand out to the kids, or for fire prevention week, we can come to their careers and personal. We have a little bit there too. Oh, and then we did add a new line there, and that's the CERT program, which stands for Community Emergency Response Team. And so we really haven't had an active CERT program for many years. Not that there hasn't been interest, but they really didn't have somebody who's willing to manage the program. It used to be Frank Nolte, and he was a great CERT manager, but he was, I think he was ready to hang it up. And so we had this, you know, problem of who's going to be the next CERT program manager. And lucky for us, Chief Schick volunteered. It's a volunteer position. So he volunteered to take over the CERT program. And so we put, Siuslaw Valley is actually the sponsor of the community CERT program. It's always the fire department. And so after we did an inventory of some of the supplies, it was very obvious that we needed to invest a little bit in CERT. So that's what you see there for that $1,000. That's to buy backpacks and helmets and basic vests, weapon vests. And we may see them as soon as roadie vests, potentially helping our guys out with traffic and stuff. So that'll be good. Let's see. Not a whole lot of changes otherwise with recruitment or operational supplies. Bringing our total operations, both with personnel, materials, and services, to 6.7 million. Any questions on that page, or any of the? Yeah.
Would you be able to explain a little bit more about the increase for the public education supplies and community outreach?
So, yeah, so that's what I was talking about with the potential, that's where we were going to put the fire extinguisher trainer under the community outreach and public education, because there's such a need in the community. We were able to squeeze that in this year. And so our costs for buying, like the plastic fire hose, so that's not went up. So we did increase it a little bit, but that fire extinguisher trainer, they ranged from 16,000 to like 25,000. So we budgeted up to try to help them cure that next year. We squeezed it in the budget this year. We're still going to see if we can get a grant repaid for that. Potentially maybe through the grant, very upcoming grant. I don't know if you should been it. Yeah. Yeah. Did that answer your question, or?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the fire prevention supplies, that's what we're talking about, the pre-plant equipment. And then the education supplies and community outreach, that was the fire extinguisher trainer, which we were going to do last year, but the board approved it this year.
So here's in Disneyland.
You were going.
I was at Disneyland, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that stuff. So that was moved to this year.
Gotcha. I made the
So,
meeting.
I mean, we can adjust that. But,
That's a good question.
yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Well, that's, then we listen to our last couple of pages. So, yep, okay. That way. So we have a total operating contingency of 100,000. That was 50 from each parent agency. We do have some money set aside or reserved for future expenditures at 1.2. Leaves us with an unappropriated ending fund balance of 2.6 million. 4 million not allocated, and then all of the other programs and organizational units at 9.5 bring us to the total of 13.6. And yep. And so the way we got to our unappropriated ending fund balance of 2.6, that's the money that we need to get us through dry period finance from July in November. And so the way we found that number out is we took on average what our monthly burn rate is to operate calories, the lights on, and fuels and materials and supplies. And that averaged out to about 730-ish thousand a month to just operate. So we multiplied that by the 5 months that we need to get to November. And then he came up with, it was actually, like 5 million, but we're still getting ambulance revenue. So remember I said that's about 200,000 a month. So if you add that 2.6 million plus our monthly ambulance transport revenue, that should get us over to our dry finance period. Any questions on this page, or do we need a second there? We do have one more last thing over. And that's on the very, very back page, and that is our Wilker Fund. So that's the Western Maine Crisis Response Team Fund, and this is a program that is 100% grant funded. As you said, right now it's a federal grant, the SAMHSA grant that's doing their funding. So you could probably explain this one.
Yeah, well, it's not only federal grants, they have some Lake County grants. That comes in, it's completely grant funded, so all of the supplies, their fuel, personnel costs are all coming out of the grant fund. And then we also get some some revenue for managing and for using our electricity and printers and copiers, stuff like that. So it's a program that goes year to year. And we hope we can continue it as long as possible, but we've maintained it as completely grant funded and trying to continue that, but it's such a valuable program. I wish we could fund it through tax resources.
Does everybody know what Roker is?
I'm sorry, Western Lake Press.
And they recently just also started managing our mobile integrated healthcare technician. He's basically, you might have heard the term of a community paramedic, but he helps bridge the gap, well, many gaps theoretically, but the program can take shape depending on what the needs are. So he goes out and does blood draws for in-home care, medication reconciliations and reviews, and he works really close with the Wilker team. So yeah, it's a great program that we have here, and now being managed by the crisis. They work really well together. They can assist clients or patients from both like the social aspect and then the medical side now. So it's a really great comprehensive package that they can offer patients who have needs.
How many members of the Wilker?
There's in total there's well, no, like 10.
3 full-time, and then getting a lot of personal volunteers.
And what they get, so then the volunteers or the part-time responders, they get paid to be on shifts. So per the grant, like, rules, they always have to have 2 people on shift. 2 people always respond to an emergency. And so they get a shift stipend for saying that they're on for this 24 hours. It's just a, here's some money, but then when they come in, it's the actual money put out. Okay. And then they're trying to work on hiring more people and get a transport program. There's a lot of people that need services in Eugene that don't have transportation there, so they're transporting these patients to services in the Eugene area. I don't know that they're going to go any further than that now. I think it's just Eugene for now, but maybe. So it's really nice. Our crisis program, especially now with mobile integrated healthcare, it's like, I think one of the better ones in the state, and definitely Lake County. I think the whole county tries to give a lot of ideas and try to inspire. It started off with that. I'm kind of in them. It started off with just volunteers that we had here, responders coming in, and it grew so fast. And it's like, okay, we actually need to staff this because they couldn't keep up with it. Well, we have been through 3 budgets. Are there any questions? Ready to take a break? Anything you'd like to go over again?
I have a question about on page 10, it talks about the water recovery cities one, but it says in there that Lawrence is at a population of 91, which is a slight decline. I don't know if there's a form for that, but what does that tell us?
So there's numbers. Yeah, we just did those. I don't know that I have a good answer for more of that. Other than, I mean, we think it varies. Yeah. What's this guy?
Like, what are all these apartment buildings that I keep seeing?
Yeah,
Spread all over the place.
building.
Oh, parking lots full of cars.
We're probably not in the last census.
Yeah.
Well, last census, 24.
20.
20.
Yeah.
10 years. So when you have a major housing crisis, that is happening in our town because the homes are not necessarily affordable markets. So a lot of our workforce has to actually move out because they're not able to actually afford housing within our city. So that's part of the reduction you're seeing. Also, we have things like Airbnb and stuff like that taking up the actual housing.
Yeah.
So it's actually more of a, it's an issue everywhere because of those type of changes in inflation. But Lawrence has actually done a really good job trying to, with the housing and development and some of the things that we see as struggles here with the tax, the hold on taxes for multi-family housing, it actually, Lawrence is doing a great job trying to get that workforce in place here. So that's a lot of my opinion in there. So sorry.
I think you're, no, I think you're spot on. I mean, there's a lot of our employees that don't live here. They live in the valley or sometimes roommates and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, how about a vision? Friday night, yeah.
We're doing our job right. I don't think we're all dying or everyone. All right, any questions? By all means, like I said, we're trying to be as transparent as we can. Anything?
Do we recommend the budgets going forward? Or what we do now, recommend for the way forward?
Yeah.
You're not keeping, when you have your same motion in front of you.
We made it easy for, well, I did. Trish made it easy for you.
So if we're starting with the Sayusha Valley Fire.
Yeah.
And if I'm reading this right, tonight we go ahead and take a motion.
Yep, so we'll need a motion to approve the budget and.
Okay, so I guess I move that the Sayusha Valley Fire and Rescue Budget Committee approve the SBFR 2026-2027 Lane County permanent tax rate of 1.5417 for $1,000. I'll second.
Okay, and a second, a motion and a second. Okay. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
And look right.
And then
Any
you want to
opposed?
do a roll call.
Any opposed?
Yeah, we should have to do a roll call.
Okay. Roll call vote for, now is this one the one we need to do roll call? All at the end? Yeah.
And that was seconded by Stephanie or Aaron. All right. SFR Board Directors, Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney, Mary Kaufman, Margaret Peg Sorensen.
That's the same one. You just put that one first. Oh, for Douglas, okay, sorry.
All right. I move that the Sayusha Valley
Fire and Rescue Budget Committee approved the SBFR 2026-2027 Douglas County permanent tax rate of 1.5417 for $1,000.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, I'm sorry, is that Karen, or-
Yep.
Okay, and then a second from Roger. All in favor? Or I guess we just do a roll call. Yeah.
Board of Directors, Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney,
Yes.
Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
Yes. I move that the Siuslaw Valley Fire and Rescue Budget Committee approve the proposed 2026-2027 budget with its general fund resources of $3,746,142 and general fund requirements of $3,746,142. I'll second.
Now this second by Reverend Strepko. Okay.
Board of Directors, Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney,
Yes.
Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
Move that the Siuslaw Valley Fire and Rescue Budget Committee approve the proposed 2026-2027 budget with the equipment fund resources of $624,310 and equipment fund requirements of $624,310.
Motion. Second. And roll call.
Director Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney,
Yes.
Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
I move that the Siuslaw Valley Fire and Rescue Budget Committee approve the proposed 2026-2027 budget with the properties and facilities fund resources of $630,835 and properties and facilities fund requirements of $630,835,000. $630,835. I'll second.
Second.
Board Directors Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney, Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
I move that the Siuslaw Valley Fire and Rescue Budget Committee approve the proposed 2026-2027 budget with the apparatus fund resources of $150,500 and apparatus fund requirements of $150,500. I'll second.
Board Directors Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney, Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
So, let's move over to, Western Maine.
I would second it.
Western Lane Board Directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick, Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Leeser.
Move that for recommend that the budget committee approve WLAD 2026-2027 hospital factory 0.45 for 1,000.
Second.
Board Directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yeah.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Leeser.
Move. Budget. The general fund resources of $4,880,147. And general fund requirements of $4,880,647.
Who seconded? Board members, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart, Susie Leeser.
Budget. The new fund resource 76,444, and equipment fund requirements of 76,444.
I represent it.
Board Directors, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Leeser.
I move that the West Miami District budget proposed 2027 budget with the new apparatus fund resources of 359,720 and apparatus fund of 359,720.
Second.
Board members, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Leeser.
I move that the Kansas District budget committee approve the proposed 2027 budget with the new properties, facilities, fund resources, 100,500, and equipment fund requirements, 100,500.
Senators would be happy.
Board members, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Leeser.
Move that Kansas District budget committee approve proposed 2026-2027 budget with the Life Med fund resources of 283,432 and Life Med fund requirements of 283,732.
Second.
Board members, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus,
Yes.
Mike Webb.
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
Susie Leeser.
I move that the West Miami Fire and EMS Committee Budget Committee approve the proposed 2026-2027 budget with general fund resources of 13,598,264 and general fund requirements of 13,598,254.
Second.
We'd like to do a full year.
There we go. I know this is the page. SFR directors and Western Lane directors, WLFEA directors. Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo.
Yes.
David Carrillo. Jim Polisi.
Yes.
Keith Stanton. Cindy Russell. Linda Stent. Adam Holbrook. Vanessa Buss.
Yes.
Mike Webb. Budget Committee members. Timothy Kelly.
Yes.
RJ Hall.
Yes.
Aaron Looney. Mary Kaufman.
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen.
Yes.
Ron Thompson.
Yes.
George Leidick.
Yes.
Karen Guy.
Yes.
Pat Stewart.
Yes.
Susie Lacer.
I move that the main fire and EMS authority budget committee approve full 2026-2027 budget. Western Lane crisis response fund resources $1,065,435 and equipment fund requirements of $1,065,435.
Second.
Board directors, Lori Heppel,
Yes.
Stephanie Restrepo,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Jim Polisi,
Yes.
Keith Stanton, Cindy Russell, Linda Stent, Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Buss,
Yes.
Mike Webb,
Yes.
Budget Committee members, Timothy Kelly,
Yes.
RJ Hall,
Yes.
Aaron Looney, Mary Kaufman,
Yes.
Margaret Peg Sorensen,
Yes.
Ron Thompson,
Yes.
George Leidick,
Yes.
Karen Guy,
Yes.
Pat Stewart,
Yes.
and Susie Lacer.
Any further discussion or additional comments by any of the budget committee members, board members? Regarding any of the three budgets or? Yeah. So our next meeting, real quick, is, would be the budget hearing. And we have that for, scheduled for May, 28th. Then be our next one. Future, additional budget. But we'll have, yeah, to adopt the budget, absolutely. Absolutely. The comment on budget, yes. So with that, we will adjourn. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Great job, Rob.
Thank God.
And the whole team.
Thank
Everybody.
you. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.